In Year 4, we teach addition of 4-digit numbers. I'm going to demonstrate the calculation 2,362 add 1,453 using column addition. So I will start by building the numbers. The first number has 2 thousands, so I'm going to use 2,000 cubes. It has 3 hundreds, so I'm going to use 3 100 squares. 1, 2, 3. It has 6 tens, so I'm going to use 6 10 rods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And finally it has 2 ones. So that's 1, 2. The second number has 1,000, so I'm going to use 1,000 cube. It has 4 hundreds, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 hundreds, and 5 tens, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, which makes 50, and 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. So I've got my number 1,453. I'm now going to add the two numbers together. In column addition, we always add up starting on the right hand side. In this instance, we start with the ones. So I'm going to add my 2 ones to my 3 ones. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. In the abstract method, I would record my 5 there under the ones. Now I'm going to move on to my tens. I'm going to add those up together. So I've got my 6 tens and my 5 tens. So I'm going to add those. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I've got 10 tens there, I can exchange those for a 100 square, which is the same size. So I'm going to take those and exchange it for 100, and I'm going to put the hundreds into my hundreds column. And now I've just got 1 10 left. So in the abstract method, I'm going to write my 1 10 there, and my 100, which I've exchanged, I'm going to record in the 100 columns just there. Now I can move on to my hundreds. So I'm going to see how many hundreds I've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the one I exchanged, 8 hundreds in my hundreds column. So in the abstract, I would write my 8 in there. Finally, I move on to my thousands, and I can see that I've got 1, 2, 3,000, and so I can write my 3 thousands in there. So I can see that my final answer is 3 thousands, 800, 1 10 and 5 ones, which makes 15. So it's 3,815.
So in this equation I'm going to demonstrate thousands, hundreds, tens and one number added to another thousands, hundreds, tens and one number with one exchange, and in this example the exchange is going to be in the tens. So the first thing we do when we add a 4-digit number to another 4-digit number, as with all additions and subtractions, we are going to draw it pictorially. So the first thing to do is to build the number 2362, and we need to build this pictorially. To build 2000s we need to try and draw a cube. So off we go. So I've got 2000s, so I'm going to attempt to draw a cube. So that's 1000, and then I've got 2000. I'm going to draw another square and try and get another square behind it then to try and make it look like a cube. Yeah. So I've got 1000, 2000, I've got 300s, and with the hundreds we draw them simply as squares. So I've got 300, so I need to draw 3 squares. So making sure they're still aligned in the same column: 100, 200, 300, 100, 200, 300, matches the 300 in the abstract. Next I need to draw the tens. I've got 6 tens to draw, and we draw these simply as vertical lines, whoops, 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, and 6 tens, and then we need to draw the ones, and we draw these as dots. So I've got 2 ones, so I'm just going to draw 2 dots. Next I need to remember that I have got my addition symbol, so I know it's an addition calculation, and I need to add 1453. So first things first, I need to build 1000. Again, I need to have a go at building that as a cube, so only 1000, making sure again it's aligned in the thousands column. So I'm going to draw 1 square and try and draw a square behind it and to make it into a cube. There we go, there's 1000. Next I've got 400s to draw, remembering that we draw the hundreds as squares. So 400s, again making sure it's aligned in the 100 column: 100, 200s, 300s, 400s. Next I need to draw the tens. I can see that I've got 5 tens to draw, so we're going to try and draw those in one square: 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 5 tens, 5 tens, it matches. And lastly I'm going to draw the ones. I can see I've got 3 ones to draw. Off we go, so 3 ones: 1, 2, 3. So in any addition or subtraction calculation I always start calculating on the right hand side. So it's an addition calculation. I can see I've got 2 dots, I've got to add together 3 dots, 2 add 3 equals 5 dots. And I'm going to write the answer in the equal sign, and because there's 5 dots I'm going to remember to draw that as a dice formation. Next I'm going to add up the tens. So to add up these tens I'm going to count them, check how many I've got, and if I've got more than 10 I will go back and cross them out. So I've got 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, 10 tens, 11 tens. So I can see I've got 5 tens there, cross those out, and 5 tens, that equals 10 tens, 10 tens equals 100. So I need to draw a square to represent that hundreds in the hundreds column. So I've exchanged 10 tens for 100. I can see I've got 1 10 left, so I'm simply going to bring that 1 10 down into the tens column. So I've got 5 ones there and 1 10 here. Next I need to count up the hundreds, and I need to remember to count all the hundreds in the hundreds column: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So I've got 8 hundreds to draw. So got 1 2 3 4 5 6. Notice I'm trying to keep it in the hundreds column. 7 8 And then we go to the thousands column. I've got 1, 2, 3 thousands, so I've got to try and draw 3 thousands, remembering that they are cubes, so they do look distinct from the hundreds. So 1,000 there, and that's 1,000 drawn. 2,000. Oopsie. And 3,000. And there I have finished my calculation. So I have added 2,362 to 1,453. I have then calculated by adding together and drawn my answer pictorially. Once I'm confident pictorially, then I would then move to the abstract. So again, with any calculation, additional subtraction, we are going to start on the right hand side. In this case it's the ones. 2 ones add 3 ones is 5 ones. You can see quite clearly that the 5 ones matches the 5 dots drawn pictorially. The tens, I've got 6 tens add 5 tens. The answer to 6 add 5 is 11 tens, so I know that that will leave me 110 and 100. Again, we can see that pictorially there when we did the exchange. Then we'll go to the hundreds column. I've got 3 hundreds, add 4 hundreds, add the 100, try not to forget that one, and that will equal 800. Again, the abstract 800s matches the 800 we've drawn pictorially as squares. Lastly, we go to the thousands. I've got 2,000 add 1,000, and that will equal 3,000. Again, it matches my squiggles pictorially. So 2,362 add 1,453 equals 3,815. I've demonstrated this pictorially and again in the abstract.